Your heart is set on one thing: research, innovation, something new, your project. You have gathered information, spoken to colleagues, made many phone calls. You need a network, relevant partners, European funding. You must minimize the risk. Exactly. Networks, raise money, enter into partnerships, all simultaneously and still promote your project. You lose perspective, lose your strategy. You run out of breath. Euresearch, the Swiss guide to European research and innovation. We inform, advise, and we connect. We have a presence all over Switzerland and are well networked all over Europe. We'll show you the way to partnership and promotion of innovation in Europe. Euresearch, the Swiss guide to European research and innovation. Mandated by the Swiss government.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first webinar of our webinar series on Horizon 2020. My name is Peter Erni. I'm the director of Euresearch. This webinar is dedicated to give you an overview on your future research funding possibilities within the new frame program called Horizon 2020. Today we give you an overview, whereas in our future 5 webinars we will shed light on the different parts of Horizon 2020. Please check also our website. The webinar today is set up in the following way. On the big screen you will see the presentation. On the small screen in the upper right corner you'll see a photo of the current speaker. Below you'll find a window for your chat questions which you can ask during the speeches and which we will collect and answer after the talks. Please understand that we will only have time for a limited number of questions, but we will send the presentation afterwards to you. This webinar is also recorded and will be later uploaded on our YouTube channel. We will send you the links so that you can always listen to this webinar later on again. We will give you the following information with our best knowledge of the process up to now, but please understand that the setup of Horizon 2020 and its budget is still under negotiation and therefore still can be subject to changes. As you can see on this view graph, the lion's share of the institutional funding available in Switzerland for research is found in the Swiss National Science Foundation. But it's also remarkable that almost up to a third of the entire institutional budget is dedicated to the EU programs, means FP7 and the new frame program Horizon 2020 starting as of 1st of January 2014. It is now my pleasure to hand over the microphone to David Bomer, head of Swisscore.
Thank you very much, Peter, and a very warm welcome from me here in Brussels. My name is indeed David Bomer, head of the Swisscore, the contact office for European research, innovation and education here in Brussels. In this sense, we are at the forefront of the developments on behalf of the Swiss research community in Brussels, and as Peter has indicated to you, at this stage can give you to a certain degree information on what Horizon 2020 will look like. Allow me to start with some key features, ladies and gentlemen. Importantly, the new program for research and innovation will not only compromise what we have known so far as the framework programs for research and technological development, but will also compromise parts of the current competitiveness and innovation program, as well as of the European Institute for Innovation and Technology. More than ever, the whole program is directed towards increasing the competitiveness of the European Union, and as such, it complies with the goals of the so-called Europe 2020 strategy, and tries to implement what the Commission has announced as the Innovation Union. In this sense, we see a very close link in the new program between research and innovation. The current European Commissioner for Research and Innovation brings the whole program under the general slogan "From Research to Retail." However, as there is much talk about change, as I've indicated, one of my first crucial messages to you is that the next program between 2014-2020, Horizon 2020, will bring a lot of support for excellent science, strong bottom-up excellent science. At the same time, we see a change away from, let's say, an offer-oriented scientific approach to a more political approach, wherein science needs to focus and to help cope with big societal challenges. Last but not least, I think a very important feature that the current proposal brings to us is a much easier setup. Both the number of schemes have been reduced, as well as the number of rules is reduced, and more importantly, one set of rules for all the different things. Now, the general structure as it is now, and Peter already announced it, we have a proposal from the Commission. It's being currently debated in Parliament and in the Council of the European Union, but so far we have received a lot of support, and this is particularly true for this so-called three-pillar structure, which I will introduce. We have an excellent science pillar, which compromises actually the current instruments as mostly known by researchers of research universities and research institutions, most importantly the ERC, the Future Emerging Technologies, Marie Curie, Slodowska actions, as well as research infrastructures. This pillar is basically directed towards providing support to excellent research as such. The next pillar is the so-called industrial leadership pillar, which is particularly interesting with regards to applying science and scientific results for the sake of industry. In there we find the currently known enabling and industrial technologies. There will be a continuation of access to risk finance for small and medium enterprises and enterprises at large, as well as a special scheme for innovation in small and medium enterprises. If the first pillar is directed toward excellent science and the last one for the sake of industries, the third and last pillar, societal challenges, is very much directed towards supporting politics in tackling the grand societal challenges. I'll give you some more details on the societal challenges in a second. Last but not least, the EIT and the JRC, the Joint Research Center, account for a transversal action and instruments across all the pillars mentioned. If we dive into the excellent science pillar, you will note that all the figures that are on this sheet, for example, the European Research Council, 14.1 billion, are in red. If I put something in red, it's because we don't have an agreement between the European Commission, the Parliament, and the Council of the European Union. So all these red texts are currently being negotiated. Now, the European Research Council is very strong, is very well situated. I put all the instruments in red as the European Research Council has announced that it will only announce its work program as soon as it knows the figures. In this sense, the instruments as such are not a discussion, but the Research Council waits until we know. As you can also see in the next action, the Marie Curie action, they are heavily simplified. We currently have up to 8 schemes. They are brought down to 4 schemes, of which 1, 2, and 3 early stage experienced researchers and the exchange of staff are not very much discussed. However, there is a so-called co-fund line asking for proposals wherein you contribute with institutional, national, or regional funds to these schemes. Research infrastructures and the future emerging technologies basically remain the same. Having said that, we will have an opening of the future emerging technology schemes, particularly the open and proactive schemes, to all areas of science and not exclusively anymore for ICT. The last line, ladies and gentlemen, widening participation is very much a concept that was brought up by the Council and the Parliament. It was not in the first proposal by the Commission, and it is very much about empowering the lesser performing regions in Europe in their participation in the framework program. There are currently different instruments being discussed. You see them there, from return grants to ERA chairs, teaming and twinning. But I think the general message I would like to bring you is that next to linking of research and innovation in the new program, there is a challenge, particularly in the excellent science part, to also introduce and connect to the people, the researchers in the last performing member states. When it comes to the industrial leadership pillar, I think this is very much about applying research for the sake of industries. The key enabling technology remain as they are. The list is quite well known. The big issue there is that we need to increase industrial participation, and that's why particularly the Parliament and the Council vote for what they call a fast track to innovation, actually ensuring that the small and medium enterprises and industrial partners are not confronted with too much red tape. Big interesting point will be the innovation in SME. We are currently waiting for the definite proposals, how exactly this will look like, but it's quite clear that the participation of small and medium enterprise in the new program will have to rise, and with providing ample opportunities for researchers that currently have good cooperations with industry. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to turn my attention to societal challenges. The Commission has actually brought a proposal, and you see the proposal in blue, a proposal for 6 different societal challenges to be addressed. This pillar basically replaces what currently to most of the researchers is known as the cooperation part. And as you see, for example, if you take information and communication technology, it's not anymore a offer-oriented approach from science to society, but it's much more a reversed approach wherein science has to tackle and help tackle societal challenges. The list of societal challenges originally proposed by the European Commission, 1 till 6, was one of the most debated issues amongst Council and Parliament. You, for example, see that down there are 2 in red: to Europe in a changing world, inclusive, innovative and reflective societies, as well as secure societies protecting freedom and security of Europe and its citizens. There's very much concerns a splitting of the 6 proposed challenge by the European Commission, effectuated most importantly by the Council. This also reflects, ladies and gentlemen, a splitting into inclusive, innovative and reflective society as social sciences and humanities, as opposed to protecting freedom and security of Europe and its citizens, which is more security and ICT oriented. Last but not least, it seems that the original topic of science for and with society will again be taken up in the future proposal. Ladies and gentlemen, before I hand the microphone back to Peter Ernie, allow me a short note on where exactly do we stand. In front of you, you see the graphic presentation of the negotiation process on the Horizon 2020 proposal. The European Commission in November 2011 has proposed a new program. There are several legal documents for the next framework program for research and innovation in 2011. The Council has discussed several times this proposal and has reached partial general approaches on the proposals, basically providing large support for the proposal from the European Commission, however only partial, because the Council would like to know the final financial situation. And this is why the current adoption of the Horizon 2020 proposal is depending on an agreement at the level of the European Union on the budget 2014-2020, the so-called multi-annual financial framework MMF. The Parliament on its side has also discussed the legislative proposals from the European Commission, and in the Committee for Industries and Research reached practically unanimous positions, again expressing a lot of support for the overall proposal H 2020 by the European Commission. We are thus now have entered this so-called unofficial trialogue between the Council, the Commission and the Parliament. Basically, there exist at the moment three versions of the text. One, the original proposal by the Commission. Two, the text from the Council. Third, the text by the Parliament. And it is up now to the negotiators to agree on a fourth text, which is basically the synthesis text between all of that. Again, I would like to underline that there is overall great support for the proposal from the Commission. We are currently debating minor issues, as you have seen some of them indicated in my slides. The most important question is, however, when will we have reached an agreement on the multi-annual financial framework? An optimist scenario brings us at conclusion and agreement on the MMF by the early summer, end of June, beginning of July, which would actually mean that we will know more or less what the proposal will look like by September 2013. It might take a little longer, however, things are progressing well. Having said all of that, I thank you for your attention and I hand the microphone back to Peter Early.
Thank you, David, for this latest update from Brussels. I will now explain you Switzerland's position on Horizon 2020 and the corresponding timeline. As in FP7, Switzerland will also be for Horizon 2020 a so-called associated country. The association process is underway, and the baseline approach is that Switzerland is associated by January 2014. This then will allow Swiss researchers to have the same rights, but also, of course, the same obligations within the funding mechanism as compared to researchers from EU member states. Maybe you haven't heard about Euresearch before, so really, in a nutshell, why are we doing that, and who is Euresearch? So the support we provide for the FRAME program, currently FP7 and in the future for Horizon 2020, is on the basis of a mandate by the Swiss government. We have, for example, all national contact points under one roof, and the members of our associations are basically the big academic players. We are a non-profit organization, and therefore most of our services are in general free of charge, and we do provide not only support to research, but more or less support to activities all along the value chain. Now, how do we do that? We have our head office located here in Bern, and we have two regional offices that are hosted by the corresponding university of that region. Now, our services can be summarized as follows. We do inform the entire community via newsletter, e-alerts, etc. But we do also advise our customers, and last but not least, we do also connect people via our databases or events or partner searches and so forth. With this, I would like to conclude this very short introduction to Horizon 2020, and we will now have time to address a few questions that you have been writing to us in the meantime. I have a question here that says, do qualitative social research and the humanities have a place in the Horizon 2020 program? So the answer is obviously yes. And let me just say a word about the adjective in that question. The Commission has clearly stated that excellence will be the selection criteria. And of course, this is something that we do highly welcome, because excellence should be the main selection criteria. So now regarding social research and humanities, we have the present situation that Switzerland has a slight underperformance. Nevertheless, we here at Euresearch have overproportional efforts. So it doesn't really match together, and the question we ask ourselves is, why do we have a lower performance when compared to other member states? And why do our overproportional efforts not show the effect that we wish for? So performance in SSH and the support from our side, it's an issue for us, and the answer is, of course, there is a place for SSH as well in Horizon 2020. Then I have another question that I would like to hand over to David. David, there was the question, what is PGA?
Yes, I'm terribly sorry for that. A PGA is a partial general approach, which basically means that the Council has discussed the legislative proposals from the European Commission and partially has reached an agreement on what it thinks about it. Partially because the Council doesn't know the overall funding for the program. So in this sense, it's a partial agreement by the Council on the legislative proposals, not taking the final budget into account.
Thank you very much, David. Then we go to the next question, that is, does the date of the first Horizon 2020 call depend on the date of the adoption of the whole program? Well, if you allow me, I would like to rephrase a bit the question, because of course the program needs to be adopted before calls can be issued. But the question relevant to our community is the association of Switzerland to the frame program Horizon 2020. And in fact, it might be possible that the association has not been signed by 1st of January 2014, but could be formalized in a retroactive manner. But what counts is when you sign your grant agreement, that by that time Switzerland is associated to the frame program. In other words, the baseline is that Switzerland is going to be associated to Horizon 2020 by January 2014. That might be delayed by a few weeks or a very few months, but it will be formalized in a retroactive manner, so that shouldn't be of concern for the community. Please keep in mind the baseline is January 2014. Do you already know at which time point first calls will be published? So I cannot confirm any formal date for the publication, but publication should start in the publication of calls to start in the beginning of 2014. There have been some information that calls could even been issued by the end of this year, but due to the delay in Brussels has been taken. I would be reluctant to expect any calls in 2013. So the first calls, although there is no official date yet, should be expected in the very beginning of 2014. I would like to thank David for his latest update from Brussels. And I would like to remind you, as I said in the beginning, that all the participants of that webinar, you will get the slides as presented here and today. So please visit our website. You will find there under events also the corresponding information to the follow-up webinars, but also to other events organized by us. And with that, I close this first introductory webinar. Thank you for your attention and wish you a good day.